Hey everyone, this video is a rundown of the astrology for the month of May 2025. 2025 has been a really powerful year already, and the first 4 months of the year have felt very sticky, we should say, with a lot of major transits, and especially the transit of Mars in retrograde in Cancer has made the first part of the year feel like we're moving through mud, feel like we're not quite able to do the things that we want. It's been a very big period of releasing, letting go, purging, letting go of all that we were so that we can step into something new. And this energy can feel really intense. It has felt intense for me. It's felt intense for a lot of my clients, a lot of my friends, family. And it's about to shift. So in this video, I want to share with you what the energetics, the astrological energy is for the month of May 2025, so that you can take this information and apply it into your own life personally and in your decision making. So let's get to it. Okay, the first major transit of May is on May 2nd, Venus conjunct Neptune. Venus is a planet of love and abundance and attraction, with the planet of dreams and intuition. And so this is a really beautiful time, actually, at the beginning of the month to start to feel into our dreams and to connect with others on a deeper, more emotional level, on a more spiritual level even. So we kind of start off the month with a magical energy of sorts that can feel really nice, especially in our relationships. The next big transit for us begins on May 4th with Pluto going retrograde until October 13th of this year. So the whole summer and into the fall. Pluto retrograde is pretty common, but what is unique about this Pluto retrograde is actually that it is retrograding only in the sign of Aquarius. In the last retrograde of Pluto moved into the early degrees of Aquarius and the late degrees of Capricorn, which is shaking up a lot of stuff structurally for us in our world. Now with Pluto retrograde at this time is asking us to ponder. This is a planet of transformation and change. So this planet is asking us to ponder what has changed since October of 2024. What has transformed in my life? What has transformed in the world? What has happened politically, socially, economically? This is a period where we're going to need to sort of sort through all that has been uncovered since October. We might be considering more Aquarian themes like community, future, the future of technology, AI, our connection to the stars, vibrational technologies, vibrational healing, all of this kind of stuff is very Aquarian. And with Pluto going retrograde, it's going to definitely ask us to think about our relationship to the future. We've gotten glimpses now already of what our future potentially holds, especially in the realm of AI and technology, and energy and vibration. There's a lot of energy also with Aquarius related to freedom and sovereignty. So with Pluto retro and communities. So with Pluto retrograde, we're going to be invited to take a look at all of that and, figure out what our future and our relationship to our future actually is. What is it that we want? What is it that has changed within us in the last 6 months that now is going to inform the next 6 months for us? And where do we want to go as a humanity and as a collective? This energy is probably going to be very strong in bringing people together, and it is very much an energy of transformation socially. Social structures, social groups, freedom and sovereignty, community and connection are going to be big themes. Now, this month we have the full moon in Scorpio on May 12th. That is going to activate a lot of this energy too, of deep soul searching. Pluto is the modern ruler of the sign Scorpio. And so this full moon is going to bring a lot of things for us to see. What do we need to see about our journey, about our path, about our shadow aspects of ourselves that we haven't fully integrated yet? What do we need to forgive? What feelings do we need to actually sit with? What darkness do we need to actually feel and see? All of this is likely to become very present for most of us around the full moon on the 12th. There'll be things for us to uncover, discover, realize. There'll be some information that might come across, even information that could be economically focused, that will help us to see something about our nature, about our past, about our darkness, about our shadows, whatever it might be, that we need to see and release. On May 17th, the Sun will conjunct Uranus, which is in the sign of Taurus. This is the last time the Sun will conjunct Uranus in this sign. It's been hanging out in there since May of 2018. This cycle is ready to come to a close. So what is Uranus energy? It's all about surprise, change, shock, shaking things up, revolutionizing things. And in the sign of Taurus, Uranus has been shaking a lot of things related to economics, our world, our relationship to resources, finance, weather, and our physical earth, our relationship to earth. All of those things are very Taurian. And now with the Sun conjuncting Uranus, meaning they're going to come together, the Sun is going to shine its final spotlight on this area. So issues of economics, issues of resources, issues of our values are going to come up to be seen for sure. This is really a period we've been playing in the last 4 months of getting clear and releasing and recognizing what we're still holding on to, because this month in May we're going to get some awakenings. We're going to have some clarity around what do we really value and where are we really going. This is going to be individually and collectively. So the energy of May is much more quick moving. We're going to start to move things forward. The summer months are going to have a lot of energies, which is, I'll share more when that comes. But the month of May is going to feel a bit more forward moving than we've actually felt so far this year. By the time the Sun enters the sign of Gemini on May 20th, there'll be a lot more forward moving energy, a lot of thinking, connecting, speaking. And when Mercury is conjunct Uranus on May 24th, there could also be things for us to realize, some surprising information, some realizations, whether that happens. It'll happen collectively, but also individually. Perhaps the biggest, not just the biggest transit of May, but actually of the entire year, happens on May 25th, when Saturn moves into the sign of Aries. When Saturn moves into the sign of Aries, Saturn will be in the sign of Aries until April 12th, 2028. So we are absolutely opening up a brand new portal from now until 2028. So we've got 3 years with Saturn in Aries. This is huge. Saturn is the planet of karma. It's the planet of structures. It's the planet of responsibility. It's the planet of foundations. It's very much about what we choose to put our energy into and create. And in the sign of Aries, this is the first sign in the zodiac. It's initiating energy. So with Saturn moving into Aries, this is a brand new karmic cycle that's beginning for us collectively and individually. Humanity is writing a new chapter, and it begins now. The last time Saturn was in Aries was roughly 28 years ago. So Saturn in Aries indicates a new chapter specifically related to self-growth, mastery, self-reliance. This is a fantastic sign for entrepreneurs. We are all going to feel in some ways like we want to create something new or begin something new. This initiating energy is also very leadership focused. And it's going to be a very interesting time for leaders. Now, you know that I teach about leading from being, which is ultimately about leading from our soul, who we are as individuals. Aries is the first sign. It's the sign of self and individualism. This idea of self-leadership and knowing who I truly am and leading from that place is going to become, frankly, paramount between now and 2028. This very likely will bring a lot of leadership crisis to the planet. because Saturn is the planet of karma and constriction and restriction, and its energy is contracting by nature. So it requires us to let go of that which doesn't work anymore. And from a leadership perspective, we're likely to see in this period a lot of leaders change. People of the old guard and old ways of being, of control and manipulation and power, and using other people and all that, that paradigm is coming to an end. And we're stepping into a paradigm that is much more of self-sufficiency and self-governance even. And leading from my own strength and power. The leaders who embody courage, determination, entrepreneurship, people who are steering people through change and significant reform, which is definitely going to happen socially, economically, politically, all of that. It's the leaders that are going to inspire collective action that are going to make the biggest difference. Those who are holding on to an old paradigm are going to get spit out, which is very interesting in terms of how that works. Now, Saturn and Neptune are going to get very close to each other in the sky. Saturn about structures, power, authority, responsibility, and Neptune, the planet of dreams and intuition. They're going to get really close, but not an actual conjunction until next February. So this first period, so really the rest of 25, is going to be like a walk through a maze in some respects. Neptune is a planet of dreams. Saturn is going to ask us to put our energy into those dreams, to build something. But also, Neptune is kind of foggy. So it may not be clear what we're traversing. We may want to take a step in the right direction and want to do something or lead something new, but we're not quite sure what we're doing or how we're going to do that. We're going to have the next few months to really sort of play around with this. The other thing that's very likely to come to the surface are illusions around leaders and world leaders. And so the facades and the illusions, they might get worse. So they might increase, more lies, more disinformation, this kind of thing, until their demise. Because eventually the illusions will lose and the truth will be seen. So this period between now and 2028 is definitely a period of the downfall of the tyrannical leader. We're going to see lots of leadership change and shifts on the planet. And so this, for me, I think is very exciting, and it's probably the most important transit of this entire year, because it's going to invite us to really get clear of how do I lead from my own being, from my own direction, right? Aries is a sign of self, and self-direction and creation and newness. And so there's a lot of new to come. Those leaders who can embody Aries energy are going to be very strongly situated in the next few years. And for those of you who feel drawn to create something or to do something that has an impact on empowering other people as individuals, this is your time to shine. And so I'm really excited because my whole paradigm of being-centered leadership, which is about ultimately leading from your soul and who you are as an individual, with this transit, this is going to happen on a collective level. So we're going to continue to see the old patterns of leadership break away and die, frankly, and new leadership that is emerging from the self coming into being. Now, of course, this will not happen overnight, but that transit begins on May 25th, 2025, 5/25/25. Numerology on that one is kind of exciting. The last few things to mention in the month is that Mercury enters Gemini on the 26th, which will also bring more clarity and more speaking and communication. With the new moon in Gemini on the 27th, again, what new information do we have? What new ideas do we have that we'll probably be taking action on as we move forward in the next few months? There's a lot of clarity energy that comes toward the end of the month, from the 25th onward. And so I'm quite excited about the month of May and what it will bring. Of course, if you're interested in knowing more about what's going on astrologically in the sky for you personally, I invite you to book an astrology reading with me. And if you just want to have a conversation about these transits, feel free to leave a comment in the video below. Would love to hear from you. Have a wonderful month, and I'll see you in June.